Hello everyone, my name is Alexandre Gillioen. I'm a lawyer. Our firm is based here in Lyon in France, and we assist persons who would like to come and live in France, either to get a residence permit or a long-stay visa. But we do also assist people who would like to get French citizenship, which will be the topic of this video. So also we assist people who live everywhere, either in the country or outside. And if you need advice or you want to learn more about immigration law in France, I have subscribed to this channel and also ask us questions directly in the comments section below. So the topic of this video is why you may never become a French citizen. First, I think we need to understand and we need to discuss what does it represent for someone to get the French citizenship, because there's a big misunderstanding about it. Then we need to see what are really the conditions you need to meet if you want to become a French citizen, because also here most people make mistakes. And last, we need to also understand that some people will never become French citizen, and that's okay. So first of all, why is it that complicated to become a French citizen? I think people misunderstand what it means to get French citizenship. For most people, they come here, they live here, and after a while they believe, because I've been living in the country, because I'm working here, well, next step is becoming a citizen. And we can understand that's how things will seem logical to you in how you think about it. However, you need to understand that the French law regarding citizenship does not work that way. Actually, how it works is that if you want to become a French citizen, it's possible. However, there is no obligation and you have no right to become a French citizen. And that is very, very important to understand, because then it drives all the rest of this application. So even if to you it seems logical that at some point you will become a French citizen because you have chosen to live in this country, you need to understand that for the government, that's not how it works, and neither does it work like that for the law. How it works is that you are allowed to apply, and there are not that many rules about being allowed to apply. But at the same time, there are not many rules that will allow you to push the government in case they reject your application. I'm going to take an example. By example, when you look on the website of the administration, and they say that you're allowed to apply for French citizenship once you have lived for 5 years in the country. So this seems pretty easy. After 5 years, I can send my application and I will become a French citizen. Well, even if that seems easy, that's because it's not how it works. You are allowed to apply once again. However, that's not a reason for you to become a French citizen. You need to understand that the way things work about immigration law in France and citizenship is that there is a process that you will follow once you get in the country. So you will get a long-stay visa, then there is a permit for 1 year, then there is a permit for 4 years or 2 years, and then you will get the 10 years residence permit. And the end is the 10-year card. It's not the French citizenship. French citizenship is something you can get after, sometimes under some conditions, but you must never believe and think about French citizenship as being the end of your journey once you start to live in this country, because that is not how it works. French citizenship, you can get it, but it's never a right, and you need really to understand this very well, because if you don't, well, you will apply, you will get denied, and even if you apply, you can apply as many times as you want, you will still lose a lot of time in this application. And most people, when they get denied a citizenship application, well, they're not happy about it. They feel rejected, and they don't understand, because they think that, well, they feel the conditions, but unfortunately this is not the case. So what are these conditions, and what you need to why you need to understand them well before you do your application? Well, amongst the conditions, I will not talk about all of them, because there are many. I will just talk about the one I think are the most important that you know about before starting an application for citizenship. So, as I said, they say you need to live in the country for 5 years. You also have cases where you can live in the country for only 2 years, and also there are possibilities for people that just have gotten in the country to apply for citizenship. However, you must understand that the time you spend in the country is not really relevant, because there is another criteria that I will talk about later, and that one is way more important, and it will make for the time you spend in the country like it doesn't really matter in the end. Why? Because I've never heard of someone who just got in the country and became French and applied right away. So I will tell you just in a minute why. So believe thinks that the time is not a very important criteria, because most people tend to meet that. Then you have the French level required to become a French citizen. So before it was B1, and it's actually changed to B2 this year. So this one is, well, you can look at it from both sides, I think. Well, for most people, they get citizenship after having worked in France or after being here to study. So generally speaking, well, the language requirement is not very hard for them, and so they don't really care that it went from B1 to B2 because basically they feel that's a condition. So it's not something that will make it harder for them to do the application. And also you have other people that came here later in life that they've not done any studies, and so for them it may become more difficult to get the French requirement because it went from B1 to B2. However, you need to understand that there are 6 different levels. So it's A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So B2 is in the middle, and well, it's hard to say that if you want to become a French citizen, you don't have to speak French. Of course you have to, and you need to have a level of French that will allow you to take place in the society, to vote, to understand what you are voting for, and so that's why they believe that a B2 level of French is necessary if you want to become a French citizen. And it's one of the conditions which I think we can agree or disagree about it, but you need to have a language requirement if you are to become a citizen of a country, and so here it's a B2 since June 2025. Another conditions that is not listed on the website, but that you need to know, is that if you are to apply for French citizenship, you need to have all your close family in the country. By example, I live in France, I have a job here, I'm working 6-7 years, and I went back to my country for the holidays. I met someone, we decided to get married, and then I come back here and I start my citizenship application. Well, that's going to be an issue because when you apply to get the French citizenship, you need to have your family in the country already, because they want you to have the center of your family, meaning your spouse and your underage children in the country. So if they're outside of the country, you will not get the citizenship. Last condition, but this one is the most important, and this is the one where most people don't become French. You need to have an income, a steady income, and a job in France if you are to become a French citizen. And this is very, very important because they look at it and if you have not worked enough, you will never become a French citizen. That is very, very important to understand. It's not about how much money you make. As long as you meet the minimum wage, you will become a French citizen. So, and it's not because you earn 3-4 times more that your application is better. It's better to be someone who has been working for a long period of time, even earning the minimum wage, than someone who has been working only for 2 years and earning 7 times the minimum wage, because what they are looking for is the fact that you've been working over a long period of time, because they believe that to be a part of the French society, you need to have been working in the country for so many years. And so if you never work, or if you have done not work enough in your life and the time you have spent in the country, this is going to be an issue and you will not become a French citizen. Also, I'm saying this for the English speaking people because I had that question many times. Your income must come from the country. If you have been living in France and you're still working for your employer, which is overseas, you will not become a French citizen. You need to work for either a French company or to be self-employed in the country, but you cannot become a French citizen as long as you still work for a company that's not in the country. And so, after having saying all this, is it possible to never become a French citizen? Yes, of course. And as I said, it's not a big deal. There are many people that will live their whole life in the country and never become citizen. Citizen, it's not the ultimate goal when you want to become or when you want to live in the country. The ultimate goal you are looking for is the 10-year residence card. Once you reach that point, you know that you'll be able to live in the country for as many years as you want. You only have to renew the card every 10 years. So in a normal life, you won't renew it that many times, and there are no conditions to it. So this is the thing that people really must understand. There's a big difference on how we look at, on one part, the residence issue and the citizenship issue. Citizenship is something that the government will grant you, but you must not understand that the end of my residence journey is citizenship. No, citizenship is something on the side. You can apply for it as many times as you want, and they have the right to deny you as many times as they want. And when you face the rejection of a citizenship application, there are not many ways to challenge that decision, because most most of the time the court will end up saying that you never had the right to become a French citizen in the first place, and if at the time you applied for it, the government believed that you were not ready yet to become a French citizen, well, the judge will side with the government in 99% of the case, because they will say that, well, the government hasn't taken away anything from you, because in the first place you never had the right to become a French citizen. So it's quite hard once you get a rejection of application to get that decision cancelled. Also, you have people that will never become French citizen because it's not possible for them to get the French language requirement, or well, they have very low income. Once again, it's not because you are not French citizen that you are not allowed to live in the country. So that's how, well, the law looks at it, is that you're not French citizen, of course, yes, but we're also not telling you to leave the country. You're allowed to live in the country. You have many rights, not as many as a citizen, but still many rights when you live in France, and we're not going, to deport you or take away your 10-year residence permit. So this case where, people don't get the French citizenship, and that's not a big deal. It's okay, it's possible. I mean, you can live your whole life here with a French citizenship, and that is not an issue. So this video was about getting French citizenship, why why some people will never get it, why it's not that easy to get, and why you really need to understand where you're getting into in the first place, because then even if you don't, well, you may suffer a big disillusion when you receive the rejection of your application. Well, if you have questions regarding the citizenship application, and if you're in need of assistance, or if you want us to have a look in your application before you do so, well, feel free to reach out to us. And if you have any question, please leave it in the comment section below. You can subscribe to this channel. There will be many videos regarding everything related to French immigration law or French citizenship.